Now, in a major NewsX TSG exclusive, newly revealed letters from designated terrorist Masood Azhar, the founder of Jaish-e-Mohammed, explores his emotional helplessness and deep frustration with Prime Minister Narendra Modi following India's Operation Sindoor. In the letters, Azhar emotionally admits losing 10 family members and 4 friends in the precise strikes that devastated JEM infrastructure, revealing how the operation has left the terrorist leadership shaken and desperate as they reel from the heavy personal and operational losses. To discuss this further, joining us on this broadcast is Air Marshal Ravi Gopal Krishna Kapoor, who is a former IAF officer, and Major General A.K. Channan, who is a defense expert. I thank you both, gentlemen, for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. We appreciate it. Let me start off this discussion with Air Marshal Kapoor. Thank you so much, sir. A very good afternoon to you. I want to first of all understand your observations regarding this entire revelation that has come to the fore. Obviously, this is the first time that we are seeing sort of an admission that we have lost, that JEM has lost a lot of people, important people, because of Operation Sindoor. How do you look at these letters, sir?
See, this is, as we get further into technology, the transparency is improving, and it had to come out some time or the other. But if we see from May 25 onwards, there have been progressively increasing revelations on the kind of damage and destruction that has been suffered by Pakistan in general, and the terror infrastructure in particular, especially the terror headquarters, the family members and the terrorists. So if we go back, we find that BBC Verify had first time quoted Jaish-e-Mohammed senior leader saying that there have been many losses. Consequently, their own Air Force veterans as well as their political leadership have accepted that there have been numerous casualties and a lot of damage. So it is in line with the clear-cut directions that were given and the statements which came out from the Indian military as well as the foreign department. And so it also shows a great coordination between the intelligence agencies and the capability of air power in handling these targets at standoff ranges of more than 150-200 kilometers with precision weapons.
Absolutely. Air Marshal Kapoor, I also want to understand from your perspective, like you mentioned, the precision strikes that had taken place. In a very particular part of the letter, Masood Azhar has mentioned the Bahawalpur Mosque, the Subhanallah Mosque that he has mentioned, and he stated that yes, it was damaged. He's admitted that there was a particular damage, even though later on he's mentioned that, prayers resumed after volunteers wanted to rebuild that area. But this also goes on to prove how precise our strikes were. Only the part of the mosque where terror training was being given, was being administered, that has been damaged, and the prayer rooms, the prayer areas were left undamaged. So that's how precise our strikes were, sir.
You see the basic difference between what happened after Balakot and what happened after Operation Sindoor on 7th morning was that after Balakot strikes, we did not have the satellites on top to give us immediate satellite imagery. And so we could not give the evidence to the world. This time around, what was done was a very, very precise and methodically planned operation in which, while the strikes were going in and the weapons were impacting, there were enough eyes in the sky and in the space to capture the moment when the weapon impacts the target. And so the proof was there in front of the entire world, and therefore there was no going back or having any kind of an excuse that this mission was not successful. So the success was written all over it. And the second thing is the kind of social media inputs which were coming out from Pakistan also indicated that the strike was successful. And so it is just an acceptance that that there have been casualties and the weapons were precise, that the weapons were fired from a standoff range, and the entire event was beautifully captured and displayed to the entire world.
Absolutely, Air Marshal Kapoor. In fact, when we talk about, proof, India obviously had the proof of what all terror infrastructure had been destroyed, because we gave out those satellite images, we gave out those images that we had captured while targeting those, while conducting those strikes on those targets. But I want to understand, Air Marshal Kapoor, there was this narrative that Pakistan government was trying to peddle all throughout Operation Sindoor last year, that civilians were harmed, a lot of civil life was affected. But now we have the terror chief admitting himself in these letters that half of his family has been wiped out, all the people who were involved in terror infrastructure have been wiped out, and they have somehow attained martyrdom. So clearly this is a clear admission of the terror chief himself, saying that yes, only terror strikes were targeted.
So there are two aspects to it. One is the acceptance, which is already proven on 7th and 8th itself. And second part is how does the organization go forward from here on? In terms of, he has to come out and say that he has lost his family members, which is in a way to take a moral high ground, to prove to his cadres, to get more people to come and recruit into this organization, to create a bigger base, and to increase the religious and the radicalized fervor amongst the people, and to seek more funds. So obviously, see, things are drying up. There are no funds. People are hesitant to go after this success of Operation Sindoor. And so, what is the way of telling people across? Yes, that I am leading from the front. My family is gone. Yet I am invested in this cause. And so that is one way of getting funds as well as manpower to go forward from here. However, I do not know for sure whether after what has been suffered by Pakistan, whether the Pakistani establishment is as invested, if not more.
All right. Thank you so much, Air Marshal Kapoor, for your valuable perspective on this issue. We appreciate it. Let me also take this discussion forward with Major General Chanan, who's joining us. Thank you so much, General, for patiently waiting. I also want to understand from your perspective this exclusive news that NewsX and the Sunday Guardian has brought to the viewers, where we are looking at these letters that have been allegedly written by Masood Azhar, and in that he has been seen asking or appealing to the Pakistan administration, to the Pakistan military, and he's seen appealing to them that you need to launch counter strikes against Operation Sindoor. And this clearly shows how deep this hand in glove mechanism runs in Pakistan, where the military is hand in glove with such terror camps and terror chiefs.
Having me on the show. Yes, I was listening to Air Marshal Kapoor, and I tend to agree with most of the issues that he has put across. Firstly, these letters are, of course, they are showing a sense of personal grief, but he's also using these to emotionally kind of reconnect. What it indicates is a very, very severe loss of leadership, a loss of their entire structure, and probably the credibility of this organization or this kind of a setup is now gradually going down as Pakistan kind of regathers itself to project itself in the geopolitical new realities. The second issue which I wish to highlight is that these strikes have actually, broken a lot of myths, and that has kind of put these terror outfits their positions as untenable, or they have gradually become very, very less relevant in the overall new scheme of things. First and foremost, it has shown that India is now actually not going to stop, and it will probably even challenge sovereignty of a nation as far as going after terrorist infrastructure is concerned, which in the past we were restricting only to the contested area, that is the POK, that general area. Now we've actually crossed the LC and actually done something that was not done before. Second part is that it shows that the nuclear kind of blackmail or the nuclear bluff that they were banking on does not hold any more ground. So these particular things have forced the Pakistan establishment to have a totally relook and maybe recalibrate their strategy towards India, which is gradually, putting this terror infrastructure into at least some kind of a ebb or decline for some time. So I think this was a major achievement. There are many other geopolitical ramifications, but I think this has been one of the major achievements of Sindoor.
Absolutely. And General Chanan, I also want to understand what do you make of these letters that actually state, that actually admit that Masood Azhar has lost 10 family members, 4 friends and 36 other people who were in some way connected to Jaish-e-Mohammed. So clearly our objective was met clearly and precisely, and this is yet another admission that is coming from the terror chief.
The fact is concerned that there were severe damages to his family and to his close, people in his leadership area. That has been known for a while, but I think specifically these letters are now focused at trying to, use this grief to revitalize his cadres, to actually start reaching out to his dwindling base, to say that, look, we have to make supreme sacrifices if we have to go on the cause and all, which shows that gradually this organization is losing a lot of ground. The ideology is no longer popular with people as it was, and therefore these are desperate attempts to just try and kind of rekindle some kind of a existential relevance.
All right. Thank you so much, General, for taking out your time.